Co se stalo? Have you heard this phrase before? It's a very common phrase. Co se stalo? What happened? If you did some investigation, you probably know that it comes from the verb stát se, to happen or to become. And if you did some more research, then you found out we have other forms like stát and also stát se. And in today's video, we're going to take a closer look at these verbs that look so similar and somehow are similar, but there is something that makes them different at the same time. Let's take a look. Ahoj, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. Let's look at these verbs' meaning. Let's start by stát. You know this verb. For example, kolik to stojí? How much is it? How much does it cost? So, one meaning is to cost. If I say stojím u auta, it means I'm standing by the car. So it can also mean to stand. When we talk about people and we talk about objects, it can also be translated as be situated, be located. Sometimes even just as a verb to be, that something is there. Stát se. Once we put that se, the reflexive part, it becomes a totally different verb. For instance, co se stalo, as I mentioned. What happened? It can be translated as happen or occur. We can also say co se ti stalo with the dative, what happened to you, and has another meaning. For example, stala se ředitelkou školy. She became the principal of the school. Stala se ředitelkou školy. So it means to become. And not only about a profession or that someone gets a certain position, but also when we talk about a change in behavior, a change in character, that someone became more impatient, etc. Stávat, stávat. When you look at this, you will see that actually it has a lot to do with stát. The only difference is there is an extra syllable here, stávat. This extra syllable is as if this said often. Something often costs or is. So stávat could be expressed the same way in the Czech as obvykle stát. Usually cost and usually stand. Do you know what rohlík is? The Czech bread roll. I could say rohlík stával 1 korunu. The roll used to cost 1 crown. Stával. So instead of saying rohlík dřív stál, I could say stával, and that means it used to cost. I could also express it in present. Na náměstí stává červená limuzína. A red limousine often parks on the square, or often stands on the square. Na náměstí stává červená limuzína. So the meaning is really similar. It also means to cost and to stand or be situated, but it means that it usually costs or used to cost or will usually be this way. And this one is the same story, also has this va in it. So it's really similar to this verb, except it's something that often happens or becomes at that specific moment. For example, I could say, to se stává. That happens. Something embarrassing happened to someone. We can calm them down by saying, to se stává. You know, don't worry, that happens all the time. To se stává. Usually or often, or we could say, stávala se čím dál protivnější. She was becoming more and more annoying or nasty. So this also means to become at that particular time, at that time. So although this one and this one look very similar, their infinitive looks similar, their meaning is not the same. In fact, the meaning of this one and this one is almost identical, and the meaning of this one and this one is also almost identical. Now let's see how we can use these verbs in different tenses. Let's take a look at how these verbs are conjugated. Let's take a look at their forms in present, past and future. I'm going to be using the on person, the third person singular, because it's shorter, and also because the third person is very common with these verbs, especially to, referring to the neuter. So let's start by the verb stát, to stand or to cost. The present is stojí, on stojí, or to stojí, you know it from kolik to stojí, and you have to keep in mind that there is this part stojí that is used in every pronoun. Stojím, stojíš, stojí, etc. The past is regular, stál, on stál. Remember that for some other pronouns you have to use the auxiliary verb to be, like for example, I was standing, stála jsem. And the future is bude stát. It will cost or it will stand. Bude stát. Because this verb has present, past and future, and its future is created by bude plus the infinitive, it is the imperfective verb. So I'll write here imperfective ongoing action. Now when you look at stát se, you see the difference is just adding se. So you could think, well, it's easy, you only use these forms plus se. No. It's not like that. This is quite different when it comes to conjugating it. But also it is a different verb. Remember, stát se means to happen, to occur, or to become. And believe it or not, it doesn't have a present. We can't use this verb in the present tense. For the past, it is slightly irregular. We get rid of the accent, čárka. Stal se. Stal se. It occurred, stalo se. And the future is stane se without budu or bude. So stane se, this would be conjugated as the fourth group. Stanu se, for instance. I will become. If there is no present and the future tense is created this way, it means it's the perfective verb that talks about something which is finished. I put a dot here marking that it's finished. It either was done or it will be done. Stávat, stávat, remember, it's just like stát, but it's a little bit longer. This extra syllable, va, tells us that something usually costs or usually stands. The present is stává, it is regular. So stává or stávám. The past is also regular, stával, on stával. And the future is also regular with bude, bude stávat. This form is not used very much, but anyways, this is how we make it. And stávat se here indeed is made the same way, but adding se. The present tense, stává se. Stával se for the past, also regular, and bude se stávat, it will be happening, future with budu. So as you can see, these two verbs are actually conjugated in the same way, and because they both have three tenses, they are both imperfective. So watch out for the se part, it has to be there. This verb is kind of the black sheep of the family, černá ovce rodiny. It's the only one that's perfective and also a little bit irregular, doesn't even have a present. By the way, if you want to ask what's going on, you know that this part is missing. So you would go for another verb, a totally differently looking verb, and that is dít se. So if you want to ask what's going on, what's happening, you would ask co se děje, co se děje. Because if you use this, co se stane, it's the future, or co se stalo, what happened. So the present tense would be expressed by a different verb. We are going to do an activity to practice these forms. I'm going to tell you sentences. You will find the form that it refers to. I will be using different forms. It will not only be on the third person singular. If this activity is too fast for you, don't be afraid to use the pause button. Začínáme. Let's start. Pivo stojí 20 korun. Pivo stojí 20 korun. Pivo stojí 20 korun. The beer costs 20 crowns. I'm referring to a can or a bottle at the supermarket. So this is the form. Stala se nehoda. Stala se nehoda. Stala se nehoda. An accident happened. There was an accident. This form right here Nehoda, because it's feminine, is stala, stala se. Pivo stávalo 11 korun. Pivo stávalo 11 korun. Right here. The beer used to cost 11 crowns. Kdo se stane příštím prezidentem? Kdo se stane příštím prezidentem? Kdo se stane... Right here. Kdo se stane příštím prezidentem? Who will become the next president? And notice that příštím prezidentem is in the instrumental case. And that's something to keep in mind, that stát se and stávat se, when they mean to become something or someone, that has to be expressed by the instrumental case always. Bude se to stávat čím dál častěji. Bude se to stávat čím dál častěji. Bude se to stávat čím dál častěji. It will happen more and more often. Ponožky dřív stály 50 korun. Ponožky dřív stály 50 korun. Ponožky dřív stály... Right here. Ponožky stály. The socks cost 50 crowns before. So we could express this by stávali as well. And when we use stály, we have to express when this was. We have to say dřív, before, or před 10 lety, 10 years ago. Stal jsem se vítězem. Stal jsem se vítězem. Stal jsem se vítězem. I became the winner. Tohle se mi normálně nestává. Tohle se mi normálně nestává. Tohle se mi normálně nestává. This usually doesn't happen to me. You can also use it without the dative. You can say tohle se normálně nestává. This usually doesn't happen. Tady na rohu stávala cukrárna. Tady na rohu stávala cukrárna. Tady na rohu stávala cukrárna. There used to be a pastry shop on the corner here. Dřív se mi stávalo, že jsem ihned zapomínala jména ostatních. Dřív se mi stávalo. Simple translation is I used to forget other people's names right away. Dřív se mi stávalo, že. Before it used to happen to me that bla bla bla. Snad se dneska už nic nestane. Snad se dneska už nic nestane. Nestane se. Hopefully nothing else will happen today. Kolik to asi bude stát? Kolik to asi bude stát? Right here. How much is it probably going to cost? And the last sentence. A prezidentem se stává. A prezidentem se stává. Right here. And the president is, but literally we're saying, and the president is becoming right now. If you would like to see more forms like this in the context, I recommend you to check the Czech National Corpus. So these are the basic forms. I didn't include the phrases that contain a preposition like stát o něco, because that's a different story, and not to mention their prefixes, dostat, nastat, etc. So that would be for another video. The important thing is that if you see these verbs with a prefix, you would be able to recognize that they have something to do with these verbs, and you would be able to look up their meaning. By the way, I would like to invite you to my special Christmas shop, Vánoční obchůdek. I created a temporary web page on which you can see all my courses and some documents, and also my ebook on discount. And these are the best deals of the year. If you remember, last year I also had my video courses on sale, and this year I'm doing the same thing, with the difference that you will find everything in one place, right here. So check it out. All my 5 courses are 50% off. My ebook, Just In Case, has a 25% discount, which is the highest discount of this year. And I also made special packages of worksheets that are at a very good price. And this Christmas store is open starting today, December 14th, until December 23rd. You know that you could easily go crazy with these forms, but what you can do, you can simply memorize some phrases that are common without even thinking about it. Do a little bit of workout for your brain. Learn these phrases. Let's repeat after me. Co se stalo? What happened? Co se stalo? Jak se to stalo? How did it happen? Jak se to stalo? Stalo se ti něco? Did something happen to you? Or are you alright also? Stalo se ti něco? To se stává. That happens. To se stává. Nic se nestalo. Nothing happened. And also that means it's okay. Don't worry. Nic se nestalo. Co se má stát, to se stane. Whatever happens, happens. Co se má stát, to se stane. Vždycky se stane něco divného. Something weird always happens. Vždycky se stane něco divného. And I'm going to say goodbye with this funny and a bit absurd rhyme that we say to the children, and my parents also said this to me. Halo, halo, co se stalo? Prase kozu potrkalo. Prase kozu potrkalo. If you want to find out what that means, check the comments below this video. To je ode mě všechno. Mějte se krásně. Ahoj.